Bonjour, bonjour, ça va bien, merci. Je m'appelle Shazi. Je viens essentiellement du Pakistan et j'essaie d'apprendre le français pour le pôle bilingual au Canada. Je salue le Premier ministre Macron pour son excellent service. Je parle anglais. Hello everybody. My name is Shazi Gio. I'm making this video out of my bottom of my heart to the French people of France. And this was something that I thought about 2 weeks ago and during the India-Pakistan skirmishes between the two air forces. So let's deep dive, and in case you haven't checked out my channel, click the hands icon to like the video and click the red button to watch for more content on my channel. So let's go. The thing I want to talk about, as you saw in this clip,
the French government for the grounds of causing financial damage, for not giving us access to the property that we had rented. Usually when you have your property and somebody prevents access from you, you have rights to sue them, and we will sue the French government because we think this is an unjust act.
Israeli defense firm Elbit Systems also voiced anger, calling the move discriminatory.
I was totally disappointed. We invested a lot of money in the exhibitions. We don't understand the logic of the decision, because from our perspective is discrimination, because everybody around is showing the same systems.
But French Prime Minister François Bayrou defended the move.
Étant donné les choix diplomatiques de la France, notamment l'inquiétude, ou en tout cas le très grand souci à l'égard de Gaza, nous ne pouvions pas ne pas montrer qu'il y avait une certaine distance qui faisait que nous ne pensions pas acceptable que des armements offensifs soient dans un salon comme cela.
This is not.
the thing is, the Western nations and the United Nations gave Israel over 75 years to sort their issues out with the Muslim world. They had like that much of time, a window of opportunity to fix whatever problems they had, and they could sort their mess out. So, and we know for a fact that Prime Minister Netanyahu is a war chief who is basically having the same rhetoric over and over again. We want to kill Muslims. We want to. So I don't think that's going to work in the modern day, current contemporary times. See, the point of the matter is that technology, since the Industrial Revolution 200 years ago, it gave a boost to humanity, and we mass-produced things in factories, and that was awesome. Then there was the Renaissance Revolution, and then there was something called, just recently in the 2023, there was something called the artificial intelligence, or the computer industry revolution. So what is this happening if you look at it from the big picture besides the topic we're discussing today? I hope you can see my camera. My camera is saying that you can see the cost of technology is diminishing, and the improvements in getting work done is getting increased. That's the bottom line. So if we took 300 years ago, before the Industrial Revolution, we couldn't do the things without it that we can do with the Industrial Revolution. Obviously, with the recent computer industries integration, such as ChatGPT and DeepSeek AI, for instance, just to name a few. So we know that getting work done using just giving instructions to the computer and algorithms, it's really fast, and you can get your answers and get your results. First of all, I want to say this: I'm not pro-United States, I'm not pro-Russia, and I'm not pro-China. Just to get the things clear. The thing is, when you have such awesome technology, having leaps and bounds, and you're getting results and getting things done, what you saw in that clip, what the Israeli company is saying to the French government, I think the French government is absolutely spot on. Because the world doesn't move around people who just create problems on earth. And that's what I mean. The United Nations and the Western countries gave Israel 75 years to fix their problems with the Muslim world. They didn't. They created the 1967 war. They did the 1973 war. They did the 1982 war. They did the 1990 war. They did the 1996 war. They did the 1999 war. The whatever war with the Twin Towers in America. And they kept doing it. You know, it's like it just keeps going. They could have stopped, but no. The Netanyahu government came back again. Why are you creating problems with Iran? Yo, something is wrong. The thing is if the world moved, if the France government didn't give rented accommodation to the Rafale company of Israel to showcase their deadly weapons for the Gaza war, it would be a double stab back on the French government. I have wonderful friends from France. I have white French friends, I have brown French friends, I have black French friends, and merci beaucoup. They're all very nice. And I do ask them, because in Canada you get to meet everybody. And I have roommates. And I ask them, some of my Algerian friends, they speak parlez-vous français. And I tell them, hey man, how's the French society in wonderful Paris? They say, it's good. Yes, there's a little bit of racism, which is normal. Nothing happened to me, I'm good, I'm a Muslim, everything is cool, I love France. This is what they said. And now, you are creating problems because of Netanyahu, who's a madman. He's going to a French exhibition showcasing the deadliest, horrific weapons of mass destruction, which apparently the Israel government has named the Iraq government has created weapons of mass destruction, but nothing was found. Now they're putting the blame on Iran, and they don't have, these are conventional ballistic missiles. And next they're gonna come to Pakistan? Excuse me, time out, you can't keep going like this. I said in one of my videos, in 3-4 times there will be 3 or 4 Muslim countries with nuclear weapons. What's Israel gonna do then? Ding, question of another day. You gotta see eye to eye what's going on. If the French government denied rented space to the Israeli company, I give 10 points, because there's no way on earth you're promoting killing people because of your weapons of mass destruction while you are renting a shop in another third country. Okay, why doesn't Israel have an exhibition now in Israel? No, because they're getting destroyed. So, if you can't do it in Israel to showcase your weapons of mass destruction, and if President Macron, I salute President Macron, and if he's denied you the right in France territory, in his country, to showcase weapons of mass destruction. So basically, the thing is that when you have a nation who's living on rented accommodation, to give a similar example, I mean, it's hypothetically, let's just assume in an imaginary scenario, the Israeli company tried to rent out the space from the French government of the exhibition grounds, and they got denied. And at the same time, if you see, technically speaking, Israel was created because the Palestinian people were living there before. It is their territory. Why we are having these conflicts between Palestinians and Israelis and Arabs, and now the third, all of the world Muslims. That includes Indonesia, it includes Malaysia, Pakistan, Iran, for instance. So the point I'm trying to make is that Israel had 75 years to get the issues sorted in this time window. And what we're seeing today in CNN, the missiles being dropped on Israel by Iran, and mind you, these are not mass weapons of mass destruction. These are weapons which are conventional weapons. They can only destroy one house, or okay, one little building. So the thing is that what the Israeli government did in this 75 years doesn't sufficient enough merit points on their behalf that they have the right to create genocide in Gaza, and then they have the right spontaneously to attack Iran. And that's why Iran is firing these missiles. If they just created genocide in Gaza, but they didn't create attack on Iran, then we wouldn't be in this situation. So the point of the matter is, back to the rented accommodation. This rented accommodation that they got from Palestine since Hitler, World War II, because the Jewish people were booted out and they didn't have a place. So they forced themselves to live in this area called Palestine, which is now a two-state solution. And it's becoming a more of a two-state solution, I can confidently say that. So the second point I want to make is that as living myself in rented accommodation throughout certain parts of my life, I'm not the landlord. It's that simple. When I live in a rented accommodation, my personality is different. That's what I'm trying to, I'm a pretty decent guy. I get along with everybody, with my roommates. But when I'm the landlord, I don't get dictated by somebody across the street and they're attacking me. I have the right to take them out in front of my house. That's my point, because I'm the landlord. And this is exactly what the French government, President Macron, did correct. They didn't give the Israeli company to rent in this exhibition in France. And this is correct action by the French government. Why should you give that rented accommodation? And then on top of it, you're creating problems for the rest of the planet. And you've been creating, if you look at Israel's history, they've been creating these problems for the rest of the time they've been in Israel, in the Middle East. They've not been very nice people. Let's just put it that way. And, it's like a little illiterate kind of a situation. And I don't want to name more illiterate people. There are already enough illiterate leaders in our planet. But I want to say this, is that, when you have one illiterate Prime Minister, Netanyahu, who has just warmongering, greater Israel, greater so-and-so, it doesn't work that way. I mean, there will come a time, you picked a fight with Iraq, you picked a fight with Iraq version 2.0, you picked a fight with Syria, you picked a fight with Yemen, and you're picking a fight with Iran. So somebody's going to strike back. And I'm hearing reports that the next country they want to hit is Pakistan. Time out, time out. We are not in the level of, seriously, of Israel. We are beyond Israel. Our population, our human resources, our power of Muslim countries helping us is far greater than Israel just getting support from the United States. So the point of the matter is, you can't provoke so many countries and still keep to hold and you can't hold your own. So the point is that when you are living in rented land, you need to behave. And if you can't behave, then don't expect certain things from certain, neighbors, because they're going to strike at you. And what the Netanyahu government has done, they don't deserve to live in this Middle East, to be honest. And if they're making issues in French land that they rented accommodation, if this is how the system works, I said it before, if any tenant can come in someone's property and start to take over their property because they feel they're doing it right and the landlord is not, then the world would flip in a matter of seconds. But why do we have the Trump Tower? Because Donald Trump is the owner. Nobody can bully him in his building. And I stand by that. But what he did to Donald Trump in this war on Iran, I totally disagree. Donald Trump is a man of peace. And everybody is criticizing Netanyahu and what has he done to Mr. Trump. So you have to get your act in order when you're living on rented land, so you cannot even dictate what the others are going to attempt to do if you cross the red line. And that's why we are seeing bombardment of Israel on I think, what is it, minutes? Every minute it's happening now. And expect more, because you're not the landlord, straight up. And you were the landlord before for 75 years and you screwed up. Now I'm gonna speak in like hardcore vocabulary. You're gonna get it. It's that simple. It does not matter if you use nukes or you don't use nukes, whatever, because you're gonna get wiped out. Because never in the history of the entire Middle East, everybody's seeing what you did to the Palestinian people. If you did a little bit of, but you went on the offensive, and it's been since October 7th, like 1.5 years, you're still like, you flattened Gaza, like over time and time again. Do you seriously think everybody's gonna just sit back and let you do that? And now you're like provoking every other country in the world? I mean, there's a limit of crossing the line, and I think you've done it like a dozen times or a few zillion times over and over again. And if the French government denied you that rented space, correct. And that is the bottom conclusion of this vlog. Before we get deep dive into another topic, because I'm thinking of more topics that are just coming in my mind. Because I'm going to be making a few more vlogs. The updates are just gone. It's like they say, on acid. It's like you don't need to take whatever. You just watch the news. It's on acid right now, and that's what's happening. So I wish peace a chance, and everything should work out. But if you're going to cross the red line, then expect the other party to hit you hard.